Hey guys, welcome to Breakdown. We're here tonight to discuss the man himself, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, the showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania, the guy who lost his smile. God, he had too many nicknames. I'm joined tonight by Paul and Aaron. Big hi to you guys. How we doing?
I'm not dead
Hi,
yet.
I'm not dead yet. Not that I haven't tried.
Well, yeah.
Wonderful, good to be here.
I think the fun thing to realize here is that Aaron lost his smile too.
Oh.
I would have
Aaron
had
was,
to have had one to begin with.
yeah, he was born without one.
Born without a smile. Such sad times.
Oh, that's gonna be his first album right there.
Yeah, but also born without a face, and my heart was on the outside of my body.
That's the
Oh.
B-sides. Don't ruin it all at
No.
once. So, guys, let's get to it. Shawn Michaels, are you a fan? Are you someone that believes he's overrated? Somewhere in between?
All the
um,
above.
yeah, early Shawn Michaels is an unbelievable shithead, and later Shawn Michaels was basically a good guy and fantastic wrestler, except for a couple of things.
He was the best wrestler. I mean, what other wrestler
Yeah,
gets to
quite
wrestle with
possibly.
God as a tag partner?
Oh man, like people shit on that, but I kind of enjoy that
Oh, it was so
storyline.
bad. Don't go there, you.
Yeah, just stop.
Come
Nobody
on.
enjoyed that.
Oh, I liked
God
it.
did. God didn't even enjoy that.
Like it was just I got to see Shane and Shawn do crazy crap. Like that's all I wanted.
Got to see God shine down a big light, but no one cheers for that.
hmm yeah, he's both one of the best in ring performers of all time, and also one of the most overrated. So
That's an
I think
impressive feat too.
it really is because it was all up to him. It all depended on where his head was at any given night.
I have to say, I mean, to me, like you said, Aaron, early Shawn Michaels was a real shithead. I mean, he was the guy that really couldn't stop himself from being an ass. And then later, he, like you said again, was a great wrestler. He was good in the ring. He was quite a company guy. But I just can't get behind him. I just cannot get myself behind Shawn Michaels. I see that he's good in the ring, but I just can't connect with him.
Yeah, I could totally see that. He's a very polarizing guy because the more that you know about him, outside of the ring, especially his early antics. Yeah, that's definitely going to turn you off. Just to know how selfish and shitty he was. And that sucks. Anytime that you know that about somebody, your opinions are dramatically going to change.
Also, in his later years, his gimmick got super weird because he was still like weird male stripper like arrogant guy, but he was also loved God and was like, it was a really weird mix of real life Shawn Michaels and early '90s fake Shawn Michaels as
He
one
was
character.
he
I
was
mean,
stripping for God.
to me, he's one of the most confusing characters going because, like you said, he bragged a lot. He kind of had that bravado to him. It was all about machismo. But then he backed everything up in the ring. So if he did that, does that make him a face or a heel? People still cheered for him like he was a face. But he had the most heel attitude on the roster.
He was both. I mean,
He
he was one of those first guys that really blurred the lines.
He's one
yeah,
of those guys that took a lot of lines.
That too.
well, he was somebody who would be a complete baby face for most of the match, and then he would like eye poke somebody and then super kick them. Like he had a really weird, yeah, he had a really weird position as babyface and heel, where he kind of did both in both directions, but he was very successful at both despite that.
To me, I'd love to think that younger Shawn Michaels could have been phenomenal had he not been an asshole. But
Oh,
as he
if
got older, it was unusual. I mean, he came back, and obviously he'd had the injuries, and he's definitely one of those people that surprised the audience almost because he did come back. I mean, the story they built was the idea that Shawn Michaels had broken himself, so to say, and just could never wrestle again.
which we don't even know if that's really true. I mean, because there's rumors out there that he was never really that injured, and that he was out just because he was that fucked up.
I would believe that. I mean, if anything to go by with Shawn Michaels' earlier career, I'd say that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, he was a real mess right around that time. I mean, I remember hearing a lot of things from Triple H about how he would show up when he was as an authority figure, and just how he was just unfit to be there. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that was one of the reasons why, that he was never really that injured in the first place.
So, what's your thoughts on Shawn Michaels, the authority figure, then?
It's a complete mess. I mean, it's dust in the wind. That's it. He's just another authority figure. That was it. Nothing really stood out.
I have no memory of anything he did specifically. I'm just gonna say that.
The one thing that I do remember was the day that he called X-Pac out, or X-Pac called him out, so to say, and he buried X-Pac verbally on the microphone in front of a live audience. I mean,
And
I try not to use the word buried, but that was a literal burial. He told him how shit he was in front of everyone.
oh, if there's someone that you can use the word bury with, it's Shawn Michaels. He knows how to do it. So
Yeah, he is an actual person who ruined careers, like Vader's.
Hogan helped with that
Oh,
before.
yeah,
So
they both contributed to that, but I've just heard such shitty stories about Shawn running to Vince after his matches with Vader. But, like, it's just unbelievably, childish stuff he was doing.
he hit me.
he, he's like, Shawn worked so stiff with Vader, and he was still whining when Vader, bumped him a couple times.
Yeah, he hit me.
I think
His punch was only 99% pulled.
I think to me that's like it's one of those things that as a child you do because you feel intimidated. I mean, it's typical bully syndrome. He felt intimidated, so he went and told on the kid.
Oh, that and he was always Vince's guy. All you have to do is listen to Vince on commentary. Back in those days, especially when Shawn became babyface as a solo guy. I mean, you could hear the erection in Vince's voice every time that Shawn Michaels came out. So he knew that was his guy.
You see, it's funny because I bet if you could hear Shawn Michaels in the same room, you'd probably taste the erection off his voice.
You could.
See, I've asked the question on Twitter whether Shawn Michaels was one of the greatest of all time or whether he was overrated. Now, if you could put him in one of those two categories, which one would you choose?
If I got to put in one of them, I'm gonna put him in the one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I would like to put him in both, but if I have to pick one, it's greatest. He's kind of overrated, but he is legitimately one of the greatest to ever get in there.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, there just wasn't enough of that consistent effort. There was way too much me, and even like in his comeback, where yeah, I'm gonna get really critical here about his matches. So you don't like it, tough shit. Um, where you knew every match just felt like it was repeat. You knew what was coming each and every match. You knew there was going to be the same comeback spot, whether it needed to be or not. You were going to get the same form and then nip up and an atomic drop at elbow and then kick. You knew what you were going to get every single match, even when his head was screwed on right. So, there just wasn't enough variety and consistent effort. But when the lights were on bright, nobody performed better.
And I will say, stagnant, not trying 100% Shawn Michaels is still better than 90% of people out there.
Oh yeah, it was still good, but you could see that it was mailed in. That was it. It just looked mailed in and just going through the motions, and that's just Shawn being Shawn.
I wish I could say it was just Shawn being Shawn. I hate the idea that that was just Shawn being Shawn. Because if someone did that now, they'd get so punished for it, regardless of who it was.
Um, No, Shawn never would, because he was Vince's boy. I mean, that was Vince's guy. You know, he could do no wrong in Vince's eyes.
Yep. The fourth lowest drawing champion of all time, Shawn Michaels. Which is not fair to him. Like
No.
the three before him and one after him are all from the same era. It was
Yeah,
just a bad time.
yeah, there was a bad time, but right then and there, to me, he was the best in the world at that time. Because he knew that he had that company on his back, and he went out there every night, and he did what Dolph Ziggler wishes he could do. You know, he stole the show every night.
I'd I hear a lot of comparisons between Shawn and Dolph, but to me, I can't believe I'm going to say this again. As much as I dislike Dolph, Dolph has taken a lot more chances with as little as he's given, but has accepted the punishment for it. He's almost what would have happened if Shawn had been punished, I feel.
Yeah, I can see that. But but Dolph also wouldn't take the chances that Shawn would with a live mic in
Yeah.
front of his face,
I
and
hope,
he's one of those guys that would politic in the back and get his way in those
yeah.
types.
Well, Shawn, I mean, is smart enough that he would, he would brown nose, I guess, people who are higher up than him to get what he wanted. Well, Dolph is dumb enough that he shit talks people with 8 times as much leverage as him, and so he gets put to nowhere. Like shit talking Randy Orton is not a strong idea.
Now, I know we've already said that Shawn was one to verbally bury people on the mic. Can you guys, I don't know if you'll specifically remember, but the time he essentially just ruined the match with Hulk Hogan
Oh yeah,
because of personal vendetta.
yep, and that will always be my number one example of why he is not the greatest of all time.
Yeah, that match is like it's kind of funny, but it's very sad that he like resorted to that kind of shit. Like it's like the big boot spot that I remember very vividly, where he takes it and he falls down, and gets back up, and he falls down and gets back up, and then he spins around and falls down again.
Hmm.
I mean, to me, not only did that ruin it for himself and for Hogan, it completely ruined it for the fans. I mean, and
Oh,
that's the
absolutely.
last things that a wrestler should be aiming to do.
Well, yeah, it should have been like a Rock Hogan kind of match where it's not a great like technical match, but people are super into both sides and it's played straight, so it works. It should have been that. But he just made it into a total farce immediately.
Well, and that was because neither guy wanted to play ball. Hogan didn't want to play ball in the back, and Michaels just decided to ruin the match. So
So
that's
which
how
one's
that
more
went.
professional in that aspect?
Neither one of them. They both suck.
Yeah, both of them are huge assholes, except Shawn kind of played it downwards later in his career, while Hulk's been the same huge asshole his whole life.
Yeah, which sucks because that was almost like a rejuvenation period for Hogan, because he came back and he was doing jobs and he was putting guys over and doing the right thing, following in Shawn's footsteps.
Yeah, 2002 through '05 Hogan's actually pretty entertaining. And
Yeah, it
less,
was good.
yeah, it worked. He was nowhere near as bad as he used to be in terms of, like, one moment that stands out to me in WCW. I was watching fairly recently. On one of the first first year of WCW, Nitro, he got the Legion of Doom. Oh no, Dungeon of Doom. I'm sorry, Dungeon of Doom, and the Four Horsemen came out to fight him, and he fought all of them off.
Oh,
It
I
was like
know.
9 guys, and like,
Oh, trust me. I remember. I covered it on the Nitrocast.
oh god, it was so bad. Like, he had Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Ric Flair cowering in front of him as he threw around like 6 other guys. Oh god, it basically ruined 2 groups simultaneously. Though the Four Horsemen were bulletproof by that point, but the Dungeon of Doom weren't.
All right, but at least Shawn Michaels never did that. There we go. Title.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, at least Shawn Michaels never beat up 9 guys.
So obviously we spoke shit about Shawn Michaels and we've kind of pointed out the bad things, but what would you say is your favorite Shawn Michaels moment? Paul, I
Oh,
swear you're going to say about kicking Jannetty through a window.
well, kicking
That's
him
a
and
super
then
great moment.
yeah, kicking him and then throwing him through the window. That's my favorite heel turn of all time.
Yeah, it's super memorable,
Yeah,
and it's like one of the only like heel turns that was never undone. Like Martin Jannetty and Shawn were never friends on
yeah,
TV
they
after that.
were. Yeah,
Oh,
they were.
what you mean that like week they brought Marty back?
Yeah, a couple times they did. Quit. They
Oh,
were.
okay, I meant during that era. They brought him back for like no,
Yeah, a
they
couple times. It was good.
but
It was nostalgic. I liked it.
um oh god, what was I gonna say? I'm sorry.
But you know though he had so many good DX memories.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and like that moment where he tells Ric Flair that he loves him and then super kicks him.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cheesy and over the top, but
But it worked at the
yeah,
WrestleMania as a WrestleMania moment or whatever.
yeah, that worked. His hundreds of retirements, every one of them worked for me. I loved his feuds with Jericho; those were really good. I mean,
I liked a lot of those Triple H matches until they got too long. One of them's like
oh
50 minutes long, and it's too much. But
well, that's more on Triple H than it is Shawn Michaels.
but
So
the SummerSlam match when he first comes back, that match is pretty great.
that's a great match.
it's great, it's violent, it tells a story. The way a
Hmm.
match is meant to be, not when you decide to be a tree in the middle of the ring where you stand on your head.
Yeah,
We've all
they
seen the image.
they kind of put it all out there in that first match, and then they had like 4 more of them. So they didn't get better and didn't have new things. They were just longer, and until they hit the critical 50-minute point.
See, it's funny, Paul. You mentioned DX. I know already I've said that I'm not fond of Shawn Michaels, but Shawn Michaels and DX was always something that interested me.
Oh,
Although,
absolutely.
although a lot of people from the Attitude Era will tell you that Triple H was the head of DX because of obviously the whole run in '99 going into 2000. But to me, Shawn Michaels was the thing that made DX funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. DX does not work without world champion Shawn Michaels being a part of it.
I could have dealt without so many cock jokes, but
Oh no, come on, you needed those. There's nothing better than a good dick joke.
DX is one of those things that like I'm not gonna crap on because in the time it was super great, but there are segments and things about them that are hard to look back at.
um,
At this,
the card game in the middle of the ring while Triple H and Shawn just sat in thongs.
Yeah, it's good. That's funny stuff.
Is it
I,
though? I mean, for the live crowd, that must have been fucking awful to watch for 4 or 5 minutes during an ad break.
That's fun.
I'll
That's
say
good stuff.
he's one of those guys that got girls to show boobs in the middle of a live wrestling event, so go him.
Yep, yep, yep.
Regardless if they were planted actresses or not.
Yep. Nothing better than coked out Shawn Michaels.
Well,
Nothing better.
covered in boobs,
well, there's nothing better.
stripping off in
There's
the
nothing
ring,
better
Shawn
than coked
Michaels.
out
But
Shawn
funny.
Michaels until he decides to get like how we described earlier. Until he starts getting selfish, coked up Shawn Michaels is very entertaining.
You know, there's a fine line. You got to know how much to snort.
So, fine line, snort, well done.
See what I did?
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Shawn Michaels lost his smile. Do
Yes,
you
he
believe
did.
it or do you not?
No, of course not. That was just another instance of him not wanting to drop the title to someone. That was him not wanting to do the job. That was
I'm
it.
glad that we agree and we point this out now because I know a few of our listeners, at least, will probably tell you that he was going through some tough times and he needed a break. Well,
Yeah,
no, he probably did need a break, but not the break you're thinking.
he created those tough times for himself. So
You could say he was on hard times, but it was definitely his own doing.
right.
Oh, come on, not even a little bit of Dusty, Paul?
Oh, no, not
No, you can't
not.
force it. You can't force
No,
it.
no, you can't force it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just feel like an ass now, I'm sorry.
Yep, broke the show.
Ruin the whole show. Let's just quit. Go home. Well, I am home, but
Yeah, you go home. Yeah, that just reeked of such insincerity and just yuck. And then they had that stupid video package ready with that song "Tell Me a Lie," and him crying and Vince crying, and ugh, it was so bad.
I need to go watch that again because I don't remember it being that bad. But I'm definitely into
Oh, it's
seeing how bad this
bad.
was.
it's pretty bad. But on the opposite end of that, the Shawn Michaels Undertaker 2 running up that hill
Oh,
like
that's one of the
video
most beautiful
package.
promo packages.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I still listen to that song regardless of like the two of them being in that video. When I hear the song, that's all I ever see now.
Yeah, you can only see Shawn getting upset and losing the Royal Rumble and coming up from the Elimination
I was
Chamber
gonna
to
say coming up through the chamber, yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
That's-
that's semiotics at its best. I love this idea that we get imagery through songs that we can relate to characters. I mean, that's such a good thing, and Shawn Michaels was one of the best to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time I hear that start to the DX theme, just hearing the words "break it down," Shawn Michael bouncing across the stage, telling people to suck it, sticks with me every time.
Throwing glow sticks at people.
No,
Yeah,
no,
PG Shawn.
not that Shawn Michaels.
No, I know.
Anything
PG
but
Shawn
that.
Michaels. Being a
Yeah,
chef.
yeah, anything but that Shawn Michaels.
Do you know what Shawn Michaels I did like from that era? Shawn Michaels super kicking everyone in the back of the arena.
That was funny. I mean, it was. It's not like everything was garbage. I mean, the DX stuff was real terrible, but he was having fun.
I liked that one DX segment where they just they brought around Hornswoggle for a while as like a
If
hanger
you're about
on.
to say midget court, we're about to have some real issues.
I was gonna say no when they just turned on him for no reason. Like Shawn Michaels super kicked him and Triple H pedigreed him for no reason. Like they just betrayed him for nothing. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, and yet the crowd cheered.
They did. They like beat up a little person for no reason, and everyone was like, "Yes."
There's always a reason to beat up a midget. So.
Are you saying this, Paul, so no one believes that you're really a midget? Because we've
Oh,
never seen your height.
I can say that because I am one. So.
Yeah, good times. Speaking of good times, guys, if you're enjoying yourselves, please feel free to like our videos. Head over to levelsofwrestling.podbean.com. Check out all of our podcasts, not just ourselves, and be sure to give them a follow on Twitter as well. They'd certainly love to hear from you. And I know fine well that the more you listen to our shows, the better our content gets. So please, please, please feel free to let them know your thoughts. So as we come into the second half of the show, guys, I want to know your thoughts on who you feel Shawn Michaels' best opponent is. If I give you the choice of The Undertaker, Triple H, and Ric Flair.
Taker.
I'm gonna go Taker as well. Though, like I said, the SummerSlam Triple H match is pretty much a classic.
I'd even like to throw out the wild cards of Bret Hart and, of course, Chris Jericho.
I never liked the Bret Hart Shawn matches as much as other people do.
Me either. I mean, their Iron Man match, I think, is the most overrated match in wrestling history.
It's really boring, and I might just be saying that because I wasn't watching in 95, 6, whatever. But having seen it, it is very boring.
I'll tell you what, you throw in a couple pinfalls in that match, and it completely turns it around.
Yeah, but they very much wanted to do the they can't beat each other thing.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It worked fine then, but if you try to rewatch it, it totally doesn't work at all.
As far as matches go, though, I definitely got to put him and Taker first, and then him and Jericho after that. Because they, even without the WrestleMania matches, Michaels and Taker put on great matches. Even take those ones out.
Yeah, if you just pick out random ones from even like the 90s, they're still like really good matches.
Yeah.
Hell in the Cell.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's fantastic.
Yep, their Royal Rumble casket match. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Their actual Royal Rumble match as well, where Taker eliminates Shawn. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yep.
Ooh, some nice feedback here for you, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yoda Airs 21 says, first time ever listening to you guys. Paul has an awesome radio voice.
Ah, thank you. I appreciate that. Hear that?
Now he's going to get a big head.
Hear
Now
that?
you've upset him.
I,
And
I
now
was
we're all going to have to
expecting.
cope with him.
I was expecting the "and Aaron doesn't follow up," and that's
Hey, just because it happens often doesn't mean it's going to happen all the time.
Oh, look at that. First we get somebody demanding more wrestling buddies, and now this. Ah, yes.
We all know you sent that to yourself.
I wish it was me.
Oh, it was you.
I really wish it was.
yeah. We're the Jackson Five, and he's Michael. Unfortunately.
Oh, that's not unfortunately. That is fortunately for you guys.
Yeah, because we all know what Michael turned out to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't admit to it, Jesus.
Oh, no,
Like-
because he was hot there for a while. Don't even give me that. I'm older than you guys. So he was cool when I was coming up. Everybody knew Michael Jackson was the shit when I was a kid. So
Yeah, and that's exactly what Shawn Michaels was. When he was the shit, you were younger, then he got older, and now in my generation, he was kind of iffy.
Have you guys gone back and watched any of the Rockers lately?
Yeah, do you know, I liked the Rockers. I think they're a good team. I love definitely love the gear they wore. I mean, for the time, stood out at least.
Yeah, honestly, 90% of the rocker stuff I've seen is when they were the Midnight Rockers, the AWA stuff.
Oh, good stuff.
Because I watched a lot of AWA when they used to play it on ESPN Classics, and that's where I've seen all of that. Their WWF run, I've only seen small amounts of.
Oh, I will say this. The Rockers were probably the most underrated tag team of the 80s. I mean, there was a lot of good teams then, but I would say that they were probably the best. Looking back now, just the way that they paced their matches and how well they worked, and how great of a hot tag Shawn was. Oh man, they were great. They really were.
I like the AWA version. Like, at least I don't know if they kept this in the WWF one, but it's funny to look back and see Shawn just hit super kicks as transitional moves.
What, like nowadays?
Yeah, like him, but him doing that is weird. Like
Well,
Shawn popping a super kick and then going up top to hit his cross-body finisher is very weird.
Well, if you remember that the super kick wasn't even his original finisher, like when he became solo.
Oh yeah,
so.
he did the teardrop suplex or whatever.
Yeah. He had that awkward, like a belly to back.
Yeah, it was definitely not a finisher.
Do you know what I will say is Shawn Michaels has had some of the worst haircuts ever.
Yeah.
Looking back on this, man, he has had some awful, awful haircuts.
That's not wrong.
Like,
Yeah.
blonde mullets? Who do you think he was? Johnny Ace?
To be fair, everyone in the early '90s practically had a weird haircut.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
didn't
that's
have
not
fluffy
entirely
mullets weird.
Oh no, everybody did back then, especially in wrestling. Everybody had bad hair.
There were tons of guys. I'm like, there's so many guys in the early '90s who had long hair and shouldn't have,
Yeah.
and then looked way better when they cut it off in the Attitude Era or whatever.
I will say this though, I always thought that Marty Jannetty was going to be the breakout star.
I think a lot of people thought that, didn't they? I mean, he did seem to come across as the bigger star on television.
Right.
He also seemed to be the one with his head kind of screwed on a little bit tighter.
Yeah, but once the team broke up, he kind of fell apart. I don't know. I've seen some of his matches post that, and they're not great.
Yeah, he dwindled. They tried to do the Brian Pillman thing on it, and he just went the complete opposite way and fell to the floor hard.
They had good chemistry though. In the few matches that they had, the one on Raw really comes to mind. And that's one of my favorite Raw matches. I mean, if I'm gonna do a top 25 best Raw matches, that one's in there.
Yeah.
Shawn really could, when he was on his game, he could bring the best out of anybody. He could get a good match out of damn near anybody, and that is a skill that very few have.
So we've had a question coming through Twitter. Out of all of the current roster, who would you like to have seen face Shawn Michaels that he has never faced before?
Daniel Bryan.
Oh yeah, Daniel Bryan, Shawn Michaels is the match.
Does
Hmm.
The Rock count as current roster? I would like to see that.
I'm sure that they had matches, didn't they?
They had to have had something. Like,
Uh,
there's too much overlap. There's like 2.5 years of overlap.
I don't think
Yeah.
they ever had a one-on-one. That's what the big dream match was about.
Hmm. That's very weird if they never actually faced off.
I mean, I was fairly sure they've never had. No, they've never had a one-on-one match at
Wow.
WrestleMania.
Oh,
I mean, WrestleMania was the big dream match that everyone wanted.
well, WrestleMania, of course not, but
Yeah, I figured that some random Raw they had some little thing, and well, when it was Rocky Maivia jobbing out to Shawn Michaels or something, I thought that would have occurred at some point.
Nope. As far as I can see, there's been nothing.
Wow.
wow. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. You know what though? I guess that makes sense. I mean, Rock was pretty busy with Austin, and
They can
Shawn
exchange.
Michaels was main eventer. So,
They can have a match where they exchange bad sharpshooters.
oh, I prefer Sean's
Oh,
sharpshooter
Sean's a million
100,
times better.
100 times over.
Sean's is actually pretty good. It's just not Brett's. Rock's is terrible.
ooh, someone suggested Neville.
Yeah, yeah. You know
Ne-
what? Rockers Shawn Michaels taking on Adrian Neville. Yeah.
If it was later Shawn Michaels, it would exist only for the bit where there's a red arrow and then he gets super kicked in
I was going
midair.
to say that exact thing.
That would be the only reason for that match with later Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
I
that's a good call though. Good
I
call.
tell you, as stale as he has been recently, I'd love to see Wade Barrett versus Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Basically, just for the fact you've got that super kick
Oh,
versus the bullhammer. I
I
mean,
want
Shawn
to
was
see
still
I
at
want to see
really
Luke Harper wrestle Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Because I just want to see if Luke Harper throws Shawn like a rag doll. See how that
Oh,
goes.
oh yeah. I always preferred Shawn working with bigger guys. Because that pinballing style, always worked so much better with those big guys. I think that's what really made the Taker matches work so well.
Yeah, like imagine Shawn's like horrible death when he eats that big boot, or
Oh,
or or the sit out power bomb.
yes. Yeah, he would sell complete death on those. Yeah, Luke Harper, good one. I'd like to see that one as well.
So Shawn Michaels' best match. Um, Fair to say it would be the one with the Undertaker.
Yeah, I like the first Undertaker one.
Yeah, if it's not that, it's like number two. Like if it's not number one, like because I love the Shawn Michaels Triple H match. I really like some of his other stuff, but yeah, I can't think of anything that's as good as him Taker
Yeah.
in the first go.
I think maybe a close one for me would be the Razor Ramon ladder match.
Oh,
I
yep,
was going to say
that's
that was
close.
my
That's
one
close.
easily.
Yeah, that
Yep,
one's up there.
yep.
The Jericho match from
19.
WrestleMania, yeah, 19.
Yeah, that was a great match.
Yeah, trying to think if there's anything more. Yeah, that's a good sampling size right there.
I mean, some of the Sean Brett stuff was good for the time, at least.
Oh, it still holds up.
Yeah, it's
But
good stuff. It just like
Shawn
feels super
Austin stuff
overrated.
was good.
yeah, I mean everything just muddles together there with that Iron Man match. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I enjoyed like Brett Bulldog stuff more than I liked Sean Brett stuff.
yeah. I mean, it was good. The more I think about the Brett stuff, the more I'm like, it wasn't great. It wasn't awful. They just could have done so much more with it.
it was excellent. That's what it was.
Nah.
There's there's really good stuff in there. However, and it's two of the biggest names to ever walk in facing each other. I like a lot of Sean's other stuff more, and I like a lot of Brett's other stuff more.
Yeah, yeah. They weren't their best dance partners together. So
I mean, as great as Sean was, I mean, we've all spoke about some of his greatest matches and things. He was also involved with some of the, some lesser angles, we'll say, such as being JBL's lackey.
ugh.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first thing. I mean, what would you say was his worst storyline? Because to me, that was definitely up there.
Yeah, that's up there. I mean, because he was dwindling down, and for that to kind of happen, that didn't make a whole fuck of a lot of sense. Um, Geez, I can't really think of anything else.
Yeah, I
I
can't think of anything worse than that, really.
Yeah, outside of the crappy DX stuff. I mean, with the Spirit Squad and God is his tag team partner. That one, yeah, we're going with God. That's what
I-
I'm going with.
I've got to say,
Tag team partner God.
for me, it's going to be tag team partner God, JBL, and Shawn Michaels, the chef in a restaurant.
Did you know that every match is actually a triple threat match with God?
Oh, I've been getting it wrong the whole time.
Yep.
I hate when he wins by DQ.
Yeah, whenever it ends in no contest or DQ or count out, it goes to God. That's why it happens so often. It's a sacrifice to
That's like Vacant getting the title so often. Those guys are just real bastards.
him. Vacant is amazing at politics backstage.
He always pulls and gets that title. I love it.
He has destroyed some stars.
I mean, he even put Edge on the shelf. That guy was great. No, do you know what's weird? I think of Shawn Michaels, and to me, Shawn Michaels was like the older end of wrestling. Like, he was some of the last pure wrestlers from like the Attitudes kind of 90s era. He even went through the 80s. I mean, Shawn Michaels almost did 3 decades of wrestling.
Oh, he did.
I mean, that's incredible to
Yeah,
think.
yeah. He came around at a time where smaller guys didn't get to be main eventers. They didn't get the title. They didn't get to be the face of the company. So if there's no Shawn Michaels, there's no Daniel Bryan getting that push. There's no Rey Mysterio getting that title. There's no Eddie Guerrero getting the title.
Chris
There's no
Jericho.
Yeah, those guys aren't getting those runs. So uh, he just had the charisma and the working ability and just the smarts to be that guy. So that you can't overlook that stuff. I mean, just that impact of him just getting a chance to be the guy, really paved the way.
And that's just it. I mean, he was one of these figures that stood out, and he is still to this day one of those figures. But is there a match or a moment that you can say that's when he was the guy? That's when he became what we see now?
Yeah, him winning that the boyhood dream has come true. That's it. That's his moment.
Was that moment as effectful without the commentary? Was he just another match? I mean, to
Uh,
me, that was almost just another match. The story itself was great, but the
no,
build.
that was his defining moment. I mean, even without the commentary, you just have him right there in the ring, kneeling down, holding that belt, looking at it.
Yeah.
That's an indelible image in wrestling history.
But Shawn Michaels in the his first go in the Royal Rumble where he won, like his first win, where he innovated like 90% of the stuff we think about with Royal Rumbles, with all the skinning the cat stuff and crazy like almost getting thrown out spots that didn't really exist as much before his point. That's a pretty big thing.
Oh yeah. Him with the 1 foot dragging and in the Royal Rumble. Yeah, that's up there too. I mean, that's an identifiable WWF image. I mean, you're
Yeah.
going to see that every year leading up to the Royal Rumble. Every time that they talk about the Royal Rumble in the past, they're going to show that.
But yeah, I think that's key because like Shawn Michaels winning the WWF Championship didn't like change WWF title matches forever, but the way he wrestled that Royal Rumble match changed Royal Rumble matches forever.
Right.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't for essentially what was a botch at the time, we wouldn't have that 2 foot rule now.
I mean, you could also throw in the ladder match.
Yeah. I mean, the ladder match itself, he was one of the guys that did
Well, he
first
did.
matches.
Did they actually invent the 2 foot rule to cover Shawn's ass when he dropped a foot on the ground?
Yeah, I believe they did. I think I read that today, actually.
Wow.
But
All right.
but I mean though I mean how is that though that when you think about that whenever there's a video package shown of WrestleMania, you already know that you're going to see those images of Shawn. Royal Rumble, you know that you're going to see him with the 1 foot and skinning the cat. Ladder matches, you already know that you're going to be seeing him in there. So I mean that's his legacy right there.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Shawn's going to have one of the greatest legacies in wrestling. Um, I think the real question is how many times does he go into the WWE Hall of Fame, though?
Every time that he wants. I mean, you want to put him in as a rocker? I can't agree to that because I mean they had one title reign, but I mean, yeah,
There was
you
a
want to put
Raw
him in.
out.
You want to put him in with DX? Sure, put him in solo. Yep. I mean, if you're gonna start from scratch with a WWE Hall of Fame, he's gonna be on that. He's gonna be in that first class. If they're inducting 5 people in the first class, he'll be in there.
I mean, you want to put him in with DX, you've got him going in as himself. As I said, he's already there. Do you put him in with the Click as well? I mean, did the Click go in as a whole?
If
It's weird to put in the Click because they weren't really a wrestling entity, like on-screen wrestling entity.
Yeah, that was more of just a, backstage, hey, let's get together and make money.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it
and
wasn't meant to be
they
that, but it
acknowledge it
became
now,
that.
but it's weird.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
daily, they acknowledge it now just because, everybody's smart.
Yeah, but it's super weird to like actually acknowledge that as like a real thing in wrestling. As like putting them in the Hall of Fame as that would be very strange to me. Like a bunch of guys who are like, let's work together to do politics in the back is a very weird thing.
so you've got Shawn Michaels as GM. You had Shawn Michaels as the showstopper. We had Shawn Michaels as Mr. WrestleMania. And you had Dickhead Shawn Michaels back in the 80s. Which was your favorite?
I like DX Shawn Michaels. I
Which
mean,
time round? I'm assuming you mean the early 90s.
the original DX, the real DX.
Original comeback in '02, Sean, like his first like year or two back, is like mostly because I wasn't around for early Sean until late. It's all stuff I've seen in retrospect. So I think I like that first comeback like run the best.
I was I'm quite fond of 2003 Shawn Michaels where he was defending Stone Cold. I think it was Survivor Series 2003 and Shawn basically came down to the last man in the team, but he obviously bladed wrong and he bleeds for absolutely ages in that match. And it gets to the point where me watching it, I was like, wow, he's actually going to faint from the amount of blood he's lost. And I don't know if it was that or if it was just the way he was selling it, but that was the only match I've really watched with Shawn Michaels that I believed this is an amazing performer. I think that's really weird to say because obviously you can look at the Taker matches and you can look at like the old Austin Brett matches, things like that. But for me, that was just such an amazing moment to think this guy can really work.
I've seen Ric Flair have a couple of those "oh shit, I cut way too deep" moments, and where the guy is just covered and drenched in his own blood and struggling through the rest of the match.
As far as one of those, Shawn Michaels is a great performer. Look at his match with Austin at WrestleMania. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah,
knew, this guy was obviously hurt, and he went out there and still gave it, 1,000%.
that is one of the best finisher reversal sequences of all time.
Yeah, and it really set the stage for, a lot of what they do now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Bret Hart will take credit for it, so.
Of course he will.
Well, dude, Austin Shawn was only a 4 out of 10 match.
Yeah.
Anything without Bret Hart in it was a 4 out of 10 match. God damn, he annoys me.
Do you think Bret Hart gives having a stroke a 4 out of 10?
Oh, you
Wow.
go too far. I like Bret Hart. I'm sorry, Bret. Don't listen to these curmudgeons.
Don't apologize to him.
I
It,
like
it,
you,
The show
Brett.
would want to give something else a 4 out of 10.
You're
it,
you're an 8
it,
out of 10 to me, Brett. Don't
it'd be
listen to
much. It would be much worse if he wasn't okay, but he's okay.
No, he's not. He's still not okay.
He's alive and functional. He's not like,
But yeah, kind of.
he isn't like one arm is useless, like, you know.
Well,
Like
why
our
are we
name.
even having this conversation? The guy
You
had a
guys-
stroke.
I know, guys. What an asshole.
Yeah, pretty
Just
much.
because you're skin and bones, well, just bones.
My gosh, you're the worst.
I am the worst.
You are.
On that
Carry on.
note,
Carry on.
I'm not even sure where
He
to
was
go after a
going to
Bret Hart
carry
stroke
on.
comment.
He was about to carry on and then yelled "carry on" at him. He stopped.
It's all good. It's fine. I understand how it feels now. So Shawn Michaels in his last few years, obviously we saw like those one big matches. In his last let's say 4 years, that hopefully avoids the Taker match. What was his defining moment? I mean, everyone needs to have that one big moment before they ride off into the sun. Was Shawn's last big moment being the referee in a Triple H Undertaker match?
Yeah. I mean, but when you think of, recent Shawn Michaels stuff, I mean, it's just him being, Triple H's lackey.
He became exactly what is in that Max Lander.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, he's his lackey. That's it. You're my best friend. Chill out with the best friend stuff.
that is the best part of the entire thing. Is the chill out with the best friend stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean that's where that's at. You mean like the last couple years of his career, or
Yeah,
like recent
obviously
stuff?
he needs something for people to remember. So was that the last memorable thing he really did? Because I almost forgot that he super kicked Sting this year.
I kind of liked when
Weird,
I kind of liked when Daniel Bryan tore him up a little bit after he screwed him out of the WWE title.
Yeah, I think that was about as close as we were ever going to get to Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement.
Yeah, him getting locked in the yes lock and like tapping and struggling to the ropes.
Yeah, that almost felt like that was going to set that up, which hey, I wouldn't have argued with, but
yeah, but HBK set a very strict
Yeah.
"I'm never wrestling again" policy.
yeah, he's dead set on that, and I applaud him for it.
Oh yeah, I respect that because he's like the only guy who's like legitimately done that, and while still being physically able to.
So yeah, we'll see him next year at WrestleMania, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's the rumor.
So guys, as we come to the end of the show, please make sure that you head over to YouTube, give us a like, maybe even subscribe. Be sure to check us out on levelsofwrestling.podbean.com, and you can download our free app if you go into the Google Play Store and search for Levels of Wrestling. At the moment, we're only available on Android, but you can get us on iTunes further on in the year. Please, please, please feel free to listen to everyone else that's been involved with our shows, such as Just Saying, Mind of Carnage, Ringside Ramblers, and of course, Wrestle React, who have joined us recently. Now, as you know, we do this show every Thursday, and we like to give you a heads up of what we're doing next week. And this week, on Lowdown, as you may have noticed, if you listened to myself and Paul yesterday, we have decided that next week's show will be a crossover between comics and wrestling, and deciding which wrestlers would be which superhero from each comic. So if you guys have
I
any
am
ideas,
prepared for that.
if anyone has any ideas that they'd like to send in, I'm quite happy to mention them on the show. We'll even give you a little bit of a shout out for that as well. So please feel free to tune in next week, and be sure to keep listening, keep tweeting with us, and be sure to read our articles as well on levelsofwrestling.blogspot.com. And that's all the plugging we can do today.
Woo!
So please, guys, keep listening, make sure you stay with us, and make sure you stay on the level. Good night.
Michael,